Now at 10, a lot of you are fired up over this controversial quote found at a local middle school. Is it sexist or true? Who killed Samson? The gruesome death of a pet cat that has a community sounding the alarm. And this Astros fan finally gets to see his favorite player in action and winds up getting hit in the face by a line drive. But he's not upset. Hear what he's telling us tonight. Good evening, I'm Len Cannon. Tonight we want your take on this story. A Houston middle school getting all kinds of attention for displaying this quote in the hallway. Here's a closer look. It says, "The more you act like a lady, the more he'll act like a gentleman." Grab your phones, open our KHOU 11 News app, or head to khou.com/vote now. Let us know if you think this is sexist or true. Our Lauren Tallarico talked to the woman who took a picture of the quote. She joins us live at Gregory Lincoln Education Center near downtown tonight. Lauren, oh my.
Oh my, Len, this quote is getting a lot of reaction online. But before we dive into that reaction, I want to put it into context for everybody. It was said by a woman who pleaded guilty to promoting prostitution in the 80s, now known as the Mayflower Madam. If these walls could talk, they probably wouldn't say this. A quote decaled in the hall of HISD's Gregory Lincoln Middle School that reads, "The more you act like a lady, the more he'll act like a gentleman."
I couldn't believe that that was still up in a school in 2018.
This picture that's gone viral was taken by a teacher who asked not to be identified.
To me, it meant that girls need to take responsibility not only for their own actions, but for whatever the boys choose to do as well. And I just didn't feel like that was an image of equality and self-determination that we as a district, or myself as a mother, want to portray.
It's not attributed to anyone, but Sydney Biddle-Barrows said it. She's infamous for owning a successful and illegal escort service in the 80s. Still, some think the quote should stay. "Sound advice, in my opinion," tweeted one person. "I agree that everyone is responsible for their own behavior, but with some guys, the woman/lady sets the tone." But then there's this. It's tone deaf at best and downright sexist at worst. Ridiculous. And the district's response sides with the teacher. The quote does not align with HISD values, and it will be taken down.
And I think we need to empower our students to stand up for themselves and take responsibility for their own actions.
As for how long that quote has been up, the teacher couldn't say for certain, but what we can say for certain is that quote will be coming down soon. Len?
All right, Lauren. So what are viewers saying? What's their response to the story so far? And take a look at this. 72 to 3% believe the quote is true. Keep the votes coming. We'll check the numbers coming up a little bit later. Funeral arrangements have been made for the legendary Aretha Franklin. Her funeral will be held August 31st in Detroit, where Franklin died yesterday at the age of 76. The funeral will be private, but there will be public viewings on August 28th and 29th at the Charles Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit. Franklin will be laid to rest at her family's plot. Tonight, a lot of people from Tomball, Spring, and the Woodlands are sharing this next story on social media. A pet cat killed in what the animal hospital describes as a sinister attack. The remains of Samson, a ragdoll cat, were found in Paloma Point Park. Levi Ismail talked to the cat owner tonight. He joins us now. Levi, evidence shows that this was not an animal that attacked this cat, doesn't it?
Well, Len, the cuts were too clean and the injuries were far too carefully thought out. That's how Samson's owners knew that this was anything but natural. Now the neighbors are afraid that more than one person might be responsible.
Beyond being photogenic, Samson was unlike any other cat the Van Laars have ever had.
He thought he was a dog, and he always wanted to come with us when we walked our dog.
Always curious and always finding a way out in his Tomball neighborhood. The thing is, Samson always returned. Monday morning, a shocking discovery across the street.
The closer I got, the more I realized that it was Samson.
Beheaded, with other injuries too gruesome to detail and almost too flawless to believe.
There was no sign of a struggle No tufts of fur, no bite marks.
Even more alarming, no blood.
It took a few hours for the sickening realization that an animal did not do this.
With evidence mounting, Susan called Precinct 4 constables. A quick search online.
And all these stories started to come up, even stories in Houston.
Near Memorial City, where several cats were reported to have cuts too clean to be natural.
It's the most painful part to think that he suffered.
A $5,000 reward is now being offered.
It's probably going to go higher.
As attention grows from not only this neighborhood, but others who want answers, and soon.
Harris County Precinct 4 tells us they are investigating these mutilations, but currently have no suspects. If you have any information, please contact them. Len?
Hopefully that money will help. Thanks, Levi. The Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office is showing off its newest ride, and it didn't cost taxpayers not one dime. That's because this tricked-out Ford Mustang GT was paid for with money seized from drug busts. A decal on the side of the car simply says the car was purchased by drug dealers. The car will be on display, if you want to take a look at it, at Legacy Ford in Rosenberg over Labor Day weekend. And we are living for the weekend, so what about the weather? As we take a look at the Houston skyline tonight, David, how soon will we get a little rain to take the edge off?
We do need to take the edge off next week. This weekend is it's a hot one.
Yes, it is.
I mean, full-blown summer weekend, very high humidity. It's still summer for a lot of folks, so Pleasure Pier is just cracking and going out there tonight. Fun on the Ferris wheel. If you're heading down to one of the last beach weekends of the summer before school starts for everybody, 93 on the beach. Heat index will be up toward 105 on the beach. Water temps 87, so it's tough to cool off down there. Hot Friday night out there right now. Texans, if you're tailgating tomorrow, let me tell you, it's going to be hot. I'll show you what to expect. We are tracking the tropics with a couple of important anniversaries today. More on that coming up.
All right, we'll see you then. A young Astros fan is on the mend tonight after getting hit in the jaw by a line drive while watching batting practice. His jaw was broken, and ironically, the ball was hit by his favorite player. 7-year-old Graham McAnally from Buda, Texas, made the trip with his family to Houston for his first Astros game just a few weeks ago. The family says they got there early for batting practice when a line drive from Alex Bregman hit Graham in the face before he could put up a glove.
I kind of was looking the other way, and then I looked and I saw it coming at me, and I kind of froze for a moment, and then it hit me.
And you were hoping to catch a ball.
Yeah, and I did, but it kind of slipped off a little and in my jaw.
He's in pretty good spirits. After EMTs gave him some ice, Graham actually stayed and watched the game. He says Bregman is still his favorite player. He kept the ball and hopes Bregman will sign it for him someday. I think Bregman will make that happen. A couple is attacked outside of their business in broad daylight. The brutal assault caught on camera. That and more in tonight's Nightcap in 90 seconds.
A terrifying attack in Cyprus caught on camera. A woman targeted after withdrawing some serious cash from the bank.
The couple had about $75,000 on them when they were attacked. One of about 4 suspects is in custody.
When you see this video, it's going to upset you. I'm upset as a professional police officer, and I want to go get him myself.
Mr. Watts, why did you kill your wife and 2 children?
The 33-year-old is being held in a Colorado jail after he reportedly confessed to killing his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their 2 daughters.
I just don't understand how you could do this to your family.
Chris Watts' attorney is asking for DNA samples to be taken from the 2 girls. What the defense wants to do with the samples is not known.
We have traffic alerts to tell you about involving 2 major Houston highways that could create problems for the next several weekends. We are talking about 288 and 610 South.
Officials are hoping that by closing these busy highways on a weekend, they'll impact fewer drivers. Still, they say expect delays, not just this weekend, the next 3 out of 4.
Wedding bells will be ringing tomorrow. You know, thousands of couples are expected to tie the knot on 8/18/18.
Okay, that is called a palindrome, a combination of numbers that read the same backwards and forward.
We never really thought about the dates, but we thought it was because school was getting ready to start and everybody was trying to get their last minute stuff done. Didn't put that one together.